Well, hello.
Happy
How you doing,
Thursday,
Nick?
everybody.
Yeah, happy Thursday.
Man, something's going on. I still didn't get the entry banner. I'm like, I don't know when to start. I'm afraid to say anything because I don't know if we're recording live or if the entry banner's going on.
Oh, sorry about that. No, but the last time this happened, they played for me, and it actually ended up in the recording. So I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to ask our guests to see what their experience was.
Yep.
But
absolutely.
Yeah. So this is what, episode 39, I think. Yeah. Oof.
And look at that. You got a completely different background. Is this a sign of what this show is going to be about?
Maybe a bit of a foreshadowing. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I'm in a different area of my basement, more geared toward the Homelab, and today's show is going to be all about our kind of holiday themed Homelab party, or the holiday Homelab party, and we have a whole slew of guests to bring on as well.
Oh man, this is going to be a riot because we're going to be testing the limits of how many guests we can come in. So we're just going to start adding people. So first and foremost, big friend of the show, we've seen him before, Deshaun Carter.
Yes, yes, this is awesome. Oh, very happy to be here. Very, very, very happy to be here.
Awesome. And then we're going to bring in, again, he's a regular on the show. He's got his own little segment called Into the DMZ. DMZ, how you doing, buddy?
Not as emphatic as Deshaun, but awesome. This is gonna be a fun episode. I can't wait to see what random things someone says today.
Okay, well then you need to work on being more as emphatic as Deshaun. He brings the energy with us. Come on, DMZ, you got to do something for us here. Big shiny face. Come on, do the sign for danger. Whatever.
Careful, I'll bring the drum out. Then that would be.
All right. Next up, Mark Fines, the mad scientist developer himself. Hey, Marky.
Hey guys, season's greetings, all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So person that filled in for co-host for me, my TSL co-lead, Tim Leong.
Yo.
Oh, we caught him not looking. Looking. And last not least, this is something that checks off a to-do list item for me. I finally get to be on an episode with Keith Lee.
Hey.
Joining us late at night, his time, and appreciate it, Keith.
While he's already on his PTO too, so thanks for joining.
No problem, guys. Great to see everyone.
Yeah.
So good.
So today we're going to be talking all about Homelabs, and we've got everybody here. I'm going to be the oddball out because I'm the one that doesn't have a Homelab, and you know I do my stuff in the place that shall not be named. But kick us off, Nick.
Well, I think we're too short of the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, we do need two more. We could have the Brady Bunch like we were doing.
Yeah, but I don't know how many more we can get on the stream. But yeah. So yeah, we kind of hinted at it for a while about talking about Homelabs, and so I just thought we'd do kind of close out the year with a Homelab show. And seeing some of our guest views, Deshaun, I think Deshaun can go mobile. I can go mobile on my phone and get some different views. So I don't know where to kick this off, but yeah. So we just kind of wanted to dig into the Homelabs, and I guess my Homelab started with I'm going to build one box, and now I have 8 running in a cluster. I have a 9th ready to add, and I've already started talking about building my next generation. So I don't know. It's gone out of control.
The data center for the first startup I worked at had less servers than what you've got behind you right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we joke inside our chats that like Nick is US East 3.
Yep.
Yeah, Nick, you didn't know this, but this is actually an intervention.
Yeah. Oh. Well, I knew my wife sent you all, so this makes a whole lot more sense now. Oh man.
Yeah. So you got a question? How do I sneak another server in without the family knowing? Any windows in the basement that you can just kind of pass them through so that they don't know they're coming through?
Yeah. I mean, it's on the other side. I've got a full walkout window, but
So you have considered that.
yeah.
Well,
No, I think this. Yeah. I think my wife has accepted defeat, and it's more about the power bill is at this point every month.
You know, I think
bill.
we should try to get her on the show and say, hey, what is your opinion on Nick's basement here?
Well, we don't want to give away too many details here.
Right.
So,
In the winter, it's really nice.
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
although the trend in hardware though is getting smaller, less power, and less heat, so it won't help you much with the winter, but it will make it easier to sneak it in. Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at what Nick's got back there. I mean, if you're one of those that like ambient noise when you sleep, you can always go down to his basement and have the white noise going on.
Oh, well, for one, I use workstation machines, the old workstations. So these are all a bunch of HP Z440s behind me, and they're actually pretty quiet versus like a server that'd be like screaming right now behind me with like relatively small fans that go really really fast. So.
Life goals.
That is nice. Yeah, e-waste recycling. Yeah, I'm a friend of the eBay situation, Wayne, for sure. It's more of a problem now for me, but yeah.
I'd like to know how fast you could crimp an Ethernet cable. I'm guessing you're probably the fastest.
No, I mean it's been a long time. I've just moved to 10 gig Ethernet with SFP plus cables and quick connect stuff. So. All right.
Nice.
Do we want? Should
I got a
I?
question.
Should I go?
What's the bare minimum? What is a Homelab?
Oh,
like let's
bare
level
minimum
set.
for a Homelab. I could be anything.
Let me start at the floor.
So imagine what you want to do with it, though. I mean, now we have some Cloud Foundry instances we can run smaller footprints. Memory is a little bit easier. But what do you do with it? Actually maybe we can start with what started us on our path of Homelabs, because that might be an interesting conversation. Because I myself, for anyone who joins our segments, know I tend to live in the security world. And when I'm not scanning things and radio frequencies in the world around me, I'm actually, the idea of a Homelab is how do we test these tools and products and things we're looking at. So a laptop is what I started with when we started having OS2, where I could actually have multi instances and looking at things. Oh yeah, I'll go. Deshaun is feeling that one there. But the idea of having the multi-threaded, the idea of looking at different things at the same time happening. We all started with just our own PC, maybe a laptop. It was a while until I got to having multiple super micros, a gig switch, and you can probably guess it. Actually, I'll throw a poll out there for the first poll. How many networks do you have fully segmented in your Homelabs? And if you're topping 20, keep your hand up.
In my house,
20.
Everybody has their own VLAN.
Ooh.
So each of my kids have their own VLAN, and each of the kids, all their devices are only allowed on their own VLAN. So yes, I can.
Are you
including my wife? Yes.
What are you, Ubiquity or something?
Ubiquity.
Mm-hmm.
The same here. Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm pretty happy with the Ubiquity stuff. And it's funny because their firewall stuff is based on what's the old open source router? It was
Open vSwitch?
No,
WRT or whatever it's called, Open WRT. Oh, DDWRT.
No, it was a different one. Shoot, I was using my old data center, so I forgot the name of it, but it's like enterprise quality router. Like it has excellent BGP support, excellent enterprise routing stuff, but it's all Debian based with a nice GUI around it, and that Ubiquity built an even better commercial version of that. I don't remember.
And Tim's bringing up the old stuff. I remember trying to hack my router with a WRT, the old Netflix routers going up with the 18 freaking arms going everywhere. It looked like an octopus. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still out there. You could, I remember you had that Linksys router, the blue one that everybody had at one point. You put an Open WRT on it.
I still got that out in my basement. I refuse to get rid of it. Right, it's going to become one of the showpieces on a shelf at some point.
Yeah, I think
I got to throw this in. You guys talk about routers. Who brings a travel router with them when they travel?
I mean, who doesn't?
This Slate 1800. This is phenomenal. It's the Slate 1800X. It's what the GLI net. What I really like about it is WireGuard VPN. You just flick a switch on the side and you get transparent VPN back to your home ship, to wherever you want to VPN to, if you use a pure VPN or other. And you can put it on anyone's Wi-Fi, anywhere, public or not, and you've got a bulletproof way in. You can tether. You can have failover. It's pretty amazing. But these things have come so far.
I don't know if we want to give any more ideas. I don't know if any of y'all have ever seen Nick when he goes to one of the trade shows at the conferences, but he packs like a whole different set of luggage just for all his technical stuff.
Yeah.
As he should.
Yes. I'm gonna have to get like the special cases at this point, because the last time through, I was coming back from Barcelona. I got the security line did not like my bags. Let's just say.
You got to do the proper labeling, right?
Yeah.
You got to put on the masking tape that says test equipment or daycare or whatever, something really generic and lame.
When we go back to Ireland, my wife won't travel through Dublin airport security with me. They're just
I'm not staying with you.
See, it goes without fail. I go through TSA, I get stopped every single time. Take a look at me. I look like somebody that's suspicious. I can only imagine if I went through with a backpack full of technical gear, right? There's absolutely no way they would. I would be in a hole somewhere.
Oh man,
I love it.
All right, so let's start off. So Nick, you're in the top left corner. So what are you doing with your lab? How long did it take you to get set up? What are you looking to do with it in the future? What is it used for?
So I guess I use it in my day job per se. So I'm running a lot of Cloud Foundry on it. I think I have, in this cluster behind me is about, there's at least four Cloud Foundry foundations currently running on it. I was like, I'll just get the one host, because I picked these old HBZ 440s because they can actually support up to 512 gigs of RAM, which I didn't know at the time, but if you buy, the 64 gig DIMM modules, but they're running 256 gig, and then, I knew I could fit in a full install in one box, but then I was like, well, maybe I can get 4 and do a cluster, and then, now I have 8 online, a 9th, and I think I'm cutting it at 9 HPZ 440s just because now they're, it's probably been a little over a year since I started buying them, probably more than that, and they're starting to get long in the tooth per se on some of these newer things, like testing some of the AI stuff with CPUs and things. So trying to get to maybe a more modern chipset here soon, and then also maybe consolidate, because they'll draw power, and you can get more bang for your buck on a more newer system. So.
I see a lot of room back there. I think you could probably just keep fitting in what you've got. You got.
So on a side note, I do have a full network rack I'm building out, and then I bought 2 more shelves. But of course, the network rack I was hoping to have live for the show, but then I was like, I'll just knock this out last night, and then of course it was like the instructions were like the opposite of IKEA. Lots of words that are all just kind of running together, and instructions, and then like very little pictures. So I was like, I could have just used just pictures for this, but I think I know how to finish it. I just didn't get around to finish it all last night. So, but yeah, then I got some switch gears and everything. So I guess I can go mobile here, or switch to a different view. I can share some more stuff.
Those shelves look pretty dense. You could probably take some real full size rackable equipment and put them on there. I think you can handle the weight.
Oh yeah. Well, I got 2 more shelves. Just more of a let's see here.
Well, and the real takeaway from this is, hey, tech companies, we're going to need you to start putting your instructions in comic book format for Nick.
Comic book format.
We like pictures, not words.
So,
okay,
you running multiple 20 amp lines down there, Nick? How are you powering that?
Oh, that's enough for one 20 amp should handle that.
No, not that many.
They all have GPUs in them too. So let's see.
You just kind of left that out.
How's this look?
Yeah, it's great.
Okay. So I've got 4 like 1500 VA UPSs, and they're running. Let's see here. About like 300 or 400 watts each. 300, 350. All right. So about 300 to 400 watts each. So this setup right here, if I flip back to,
And he's got some stuff that ain't even unboxed yet there.
yeah.
Yep.
So in a short, to answer your question, there's two 20 amp circuits running that currently. I have another two 20 amp circuits I haven't brought online yet to handle the expansion. But yeah, if we go over here, I don't know if you can see this.
Oh yeah.
Maybe if I put it closer to this camera, this is going to be at least identically the next generation. It's the HPZ G4. It's a kind of the step up from the Z440, and we'll see what we can get with that. But you can get Cascade Lake CPUs in this thing allegedly, and I'm kind of testing this theory out for kind of the next generation.
Are there multiple multiple power supplies in there, or is it just one?
I think it's just a single 1,000 watt. So this, like a lot of these like HP machines, they have this weird kind of like strangely shaped power supply. And of course, I just got this the other day, and I can't even pop this thing out, so I'm gonna have to work on this. So maybe this got like dinged up in shipping. So it's just a bare bones. I've got all the other gear to put into it. So I'm obviously gonna have to deal with that later, but I can show you the Z440 here.
How much?
And I think everybody kind of missed Nick's weird, nerd flex there. And all of these have GPUs. Look at you.
I didn't miss it.
But yeah, so I mean, here's the Z440, the 9th host here. But like you can see, like it's got this. These are only 700 watts, and actually ripped these out and replaced them with a 1,000 watt small form factor machine. And I could show you those in action here. But there's a whole hack, right? Because you got to get custom cables and things to plug into the HP Z440 motherboard. So I'll go back to regular view. But yeah, I'll have to write. I've got a lot of blog posts about all the stuff I've done with the C440s. But yeah, when I started, it was just a single host. Now I have 8 to 9 hosts, and then lots of GPUs as well. So hey,
how much memory on each one?
256 gig on each one, and then the Z6 should do 384 gig. Technically, that can be like a dual proc too, but I'm not really sure how that's going to work. Like there is a Z8 G4 that can do 2, but like I don't know. I'm not trying to run like I don't know super dense boxes just because of power. Because then they're like, oh, it's a 1,500 watt power supply and that type of thing, or 1,400 watt power supply.
Do any of them monitor power consumption for your clusters? I was going to do that. I figured this on, but I haven't. I'm doing the home automation, so I'm adding it, but I haven't gotten to doing the power monitoring on the cluster yet. No, just have to turn it off. I don't want to turn it off to put monitor on it.
Yeah, I use Sense. It's a meter. You be very careful. You basically clamp it onto your main feed to your house.
Yep.
And it uses ML. Well, it's been around a while, but it's using some algorithms to measure the back EMF off switches to try and create a signature for what's in your house. So it's not bad, but it gives you your overall consumption. It's awesome.
Here you go, Nick. Here's a question from Wayne for you. What do you do for UPS? Now, knowing Wayne, I don't know if he's talking about power supply or if he's talking about the actual company. You never know with Wayne. You're on mute, buddy.
Whoops. UPS, the company, visits my house frequently.
New servers all the time.
Yeah. But for the power supply situations, like Woot usually has a pretty good deal on like factory reconditioned like cyber power boxes, except for the one that they sent me with the screw loose in it. So I don't know. I've ordered some more of those as well, and they have them up every now and then. So that seems to be a pretty good deal. Some people I've seen that like they have the full like real like data center style UPSs and racks, and they have like dedicated like circuits going directly to the UPSs and things. Like I don't have all that, but at least yet, I don't know. So we'll see. So that's a whole nother level of like investment in your power infrastructure at home.
It's shameful,
This is all,
Nick.
like,
It's just
commodity
shameful
stuff.
to hear. It's shameful to hear about all the things you're missing.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, and I think it's
What?
interesting. So we've seen Nick's setup, right? Nick uses big machines. We go to the opposite end of the spectrum with Deshaun. He's got like an army of pies out there.
I have an army of pies. That is
Yep.
exactly right.
So you go small.
I've been there. So I had a hosting software company. I hosted 20,000 domains in a room that was smaller than the one that Nick's in, with 7 racks full of super micros between the years of like 2002 to 2008, if you remember what happened in 2008. But yeah, I had the power strips, the DC power, the separate circuits. I had it all. I had 3 T1 lines going into the basement of my house.
Wow.
And while I was, Nick and Nikki's peer, I had the rack of Dell R710s, and my power is 1.5 kilowatt hours for kilowatts at idle. And when I decided, hey, maybe I don't need that. It was a little loud, it was a little expensive. I swapped it all out for more Raspberry Pis. Mm-hmm. So on the opposite end, we're talking about power. I was seeing if I had one, but I have these little outlets that you can bootstrap, you can reinit, and have the power being sent over. What's the protocol?
Viewing.
What was it? It goes over Wi-Fi. I don't remember the protocol that it sends. I have it transferred over to a Redis stream. But anyways, you can capture your power, because that was the demo that I did a lot. I always wanted kind of the real-time power. Hey, let me deploy new tiles. Let me do a repave and show that kind of power on the old rack. But that was between the vSphere 6 and vSphere 7. So on the vSphere 7 side, I had Nooks, and the Nooks are still around, but still, these are tiny, fun, like good. I can fit 64 gigs of RAM in here, NVMe's. It works, so I have a little bit of those, but everything's kind of in flux, right? New year, you got to do new Homelab. But yeah, the small size, this is $150. It's tiny. It consumes like no power. I can run it on batteries, on AA batteries, but it's got 20 cores, right? Wow. Between the 5 devices that are in here, it's got 20 cores of ARM64. And what do you do on something like this? Well, you put it in fun places, but you can run Karifi. So that's what I'm doing. I've got, I think right now, maybe 5 or 6 different Karifi deployments. So I still have my CF push, all the wonderful things with that. But yeah, I'm just doing it in a slightly different way. A little bit less power consumption, but I still have the different power circuits in the different areas. I used to have another area in the basement that has 2 circuits over there. That's where the networking stuff comes in some of the older machines. And then I got 2 coming in here into the office. And I got an extra special one just for that, the clubhouse, the other AZ in my house.
The clubhouse. Hold on. What's the clubhouse?
When we built the house, we didn't know if we were going to have a boy or a girl. We were pregnant, and we were trying to figure out, like, hey, what's going to happen? Well, I knew it was the upper level. The girls have their floor, and there's like a little area where we call it the clubhouse. It's just where there's a little TV and a toy nice. Puzzle game closet, and that's where some other networking stuff sits. So I have 2 networks coming into my house, so I can do fun things like BGP and failover and all of the other things, because my children will never deploy active passive.
Yeah. All right. Well, and so I do think you probably need to start like a sweatshirt line of Pi Army.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I think there's a clothing line there, Pi Army.
There's something there.
Something there.
But yeah, over 100 Raspberry Pi devices are deployed in my house. In Ubiquiti, I can get my Wi-Fi signal a block away. So yeah, I'm feeling good.
Are you using this for good or for evil, Deshaun?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
Yep. Well, and now we're looking.
Research.
And I'm looking at Finesies there. Finesy, is this an actual picture, or are you? Is this actual representation of what your setup looks like, or are you fooling us?
Nick was smart enough to go downstairs before the show started. I was like too lazy to get up off this chair and pull those wires out of the laptop. So I remembered I was chatting with another colleague, and I had a picture from a few years ago. So that's an old generation there. I had Dell Red 1980s from like 10 years ago, eBay junkyard, of course. trying to get myself to 128 gig of RAM back in 2014 was hard. And then I put a Vault. I had a physical SAN, and I had fiber links to it, so I had the thing going as one in quotes. And this predates even AZ support in PCF1. Then as the years would go on, you'd say the next one I think is an R600 or a 610, which is a 4U, 24 physical cores and 3 physical CPUs, beast. But I think I had the first 4 blades. When I added that to it, I had a kilowatt meter. You know those plugs that can give you the that came down one evening and the plug was melted onto the kilowatt. Oh no, this is not good. So didn't burn the house down, knock on wood.
It is.
Yeah. I have a special version of one of those with nice color on the main power pole. Dell R600, then look at this, you see? I remember those plugs. Then went to a Precision 19 something or other. I actually rediscovered that machine because I thought it had a vSphere 7 issue, so I stopped using it. I had the very earliest, we call it Pacific, the earliest Tanzu for Kubernetes setup going, and redusted it off just a month ago, and it's running 802 right now and going great. But the machine that I've kept going the most is the funny one because it's hiding in the corner at the back of all that. It's not on the rack. It's a little super micro. It's like your Noctishan. It's the horse that just keeps going. I mean, you could leave it on all the time, 60 watts, nominal power consumption, not 1.6 kilowatts. And like the DRAC cards on the old servers used more power than the super micro running. And I know we're at another level now because, we can talk about pies and things, but the Apple Silicon and the ARM stuff, my goodness, what we can do now. Like this, Keith, keep me honest. This is a bunch of, I can't do it with the virtual background. Yeah. On the small end, was it an experiment where I read William's blog and I tried it out and I got hypervisors running on this ARM? Was it?
Yeah, I did the same. Yeah.
It was the dinkiest thing to see these little boxes appearing in vCenter. Go, oh my goodness, this is cool. The Kubernetes on it, and that's my hardware collection.
Yeah, well, I got to say, just looking at yours now, we haven't seen Tim's or Keith's yet, but so far your picture is the most professional. This takes me back to the days of actually working in a data center. I mean, that's pretty slick looking.
Yeah, the physical rack, the chassis. Wasn't cheap. Bought it 10 years ago, and it was because blades are heavy and they're not engineered to be held, let alone carried around. And I was just talking to someone this morning, another colleague who's looking at building a lab for herself, and I was kind of saying, don't go blades unless you really find a good deal. You're going to need something to bolt them onto. They don't sit well on tables. And yeah.
See, that's the only part of a home lab I've got. I've got a network rack.
Okay.
That came from it, but I haven't filled it out yet. I've been lazy. Y'all can make fun of me and ridicule me.
But you just have a New Year's resolution now to
I do.
Fill out your network rack, right?
Yeah, we'll do this again next Christmas, and then it'll be, did Nicky get his work done or not? Did he complete his homework? All right, so let's move to DMZ. DMZ, your setup, it looks like a typical security guy. It's just freaking chaos, man.
No, there is a rhyme to the order, and I was just saying, Nicky, it's too bad we didn't know each other a couple of decades ago. I actually I didn't really inherit. One of the startups I worked with at the end of the .com era, when everything was like going belly up really spectacularly, I ended up going to an auction of one of the startups I worked at. Everyone's there like, I'm going to buy my old laptop. I actually had found another startup to fund me, so I went buying the old 450s. So I also picked up the entire server room of racks, all the racks themselves. There were probably 14 of them. And I think I got all the racks for like $20 a piece.
Wow.
I was giving them away to friends in the Bay Area. I was like, hey, you want a rack? You get a rack. You get a rack. I still have one in my basement, but I'm using it to hold my tools up because no one really wants to have an exposed rack with things running. I did actually, let's see if y'all can switch to my other stuff.
Oh, do you got another? Oh, you're going mobile? Here you
go. Go sideways. Go sideways. There we go.
Is that better? So
solo mode.
Setup, which that was a big expensive thing to convince my wife I needed the 54-inch monitor.
Of course.
I got my
that is the greatest investment I ever made. I've got almost the same monitor. It is awesome.
So I got my stereo and other stuff. And you typically, like anyone else, you have all your stickers in your cabinet. So I don't have the big rack anymore. But I did have a friend who picked, I'm not sure if y'all can hear me on the other one anymore, but I have a friend who picked up this old Dell, which, as you can see, is just full of a bunch of stuff.
Yep.
The funny thing is I'll come back over here so y'all can hear me. And I'll turn that off now. But the funny thing is out of all the stuff running here on that rack there, and I'm going to drop this out because it's too noisy. The actual lab itself is running on mini ITX machines. So I actually, it's like these little machines. They're just a little bit bigger than Raspberry Pi, but they're a little bit more power. But they're really noisy because they're rackable machines, which is going back. I think what Mark, you were saying, you don't get rack mount unless you want to live with that ambient hum in the background. These are noisy beasts, but they're small and they're pretty powerful, and they are x86. So I can run full vSphere. I can run OpenStack, which I used to run my own data center with OpenStack. I still like that occasionally. But I've got the small cluster, ubiquity networking, all the different subnets and firewalls. But I do use it for a lot of my security testing too. So I have a lot of the various taps in the different networks. If you're going to test something, you have to be able to see how it's all working, how things are going together. And I do have, just like Deshaun, I have a variety of Raspberry Pis scattered throughout the house doing home automation things because those just run with no power. They're easy to plug in. And they have so many interfaces. You can get a hat for anything. I even have a hat on one of them that's sitting. You got the house speakers in the house. I have a little Raspberry Pi. You can get a little hat for it. It's a 15 watt amplifier, and you can actually do audio out. So I have PlexAmp on the Raspberry Pi. I can go to my cell phone and I can just say output to that Raspberry Pi, and it plays on the speakers across the room. So there's I will throw out there there are actually more things that are more fun than the Raspberry Pis, and I'm not going to reach. Let's see if I can get it in front of here. Embedded stuff, ESP32, which we'll never see Cloud Foundry run on, but I have been doing a lot of ESP32 stuff recently, and that's 3D printer prints all sorts of fun cases, but there's the low code stuff on ESP these days is just amazing. You can do like a couple lines of YAML. I love writing C, so I had this huge whiteboard project. I was gonna make this new LED light thing for a new cabinet I was building for the house. I had a whole programming C code, multi-threaded, figured out. Then I discovered WLED, and then I discovered home ESP Home. I was like, oh, I can do that with 30 lines of YAML. I don't write any C code.
YAML.
My new lab focuses a lot of the embedded stuff. There's some really neat stuff, especially anything you buy. I bought a cat feeder. It's an ESP32. It's got a little protocol, but once I've done my network sign up, I disconnect them from the internet and I manage them all locally. So I love trying to figure out everything from the lights we have in our house to everything you get these days. It has a computer in it, and I don't want the world to connect to it. I want to manage those. So that's the little security person in me going, oh, I've got all these computers. I plugged in my little home assistant, turned it on and goes, oh, we've got 200 sensors we can connect to. I'm like, oh, what else do we have I didn't know about?
Well, and we were talking about this in the green room before the show started. Let's talk a little bit about your security stuff, because frankly, DMZ, you're one of those guys that kind of scares the crap out of me because you're always monitoring everything. You always have a neat little gadget that says, hey, look what I can do. I can take over a bank with this little gadget. So tell us a little bit about your security stuff.
There it is.
Oh, wait, you got the wireless adapter.
Of course you got
the wireless adapter. The wireless adapter is fun because the problem with these devices is like anything in hacking, is not like the movies. They're not going to walk up and go, oh, I just got access to your power grid. I'm going to turn it off. It doesn't work that way. It's a lot of prep work. To do an attack with any of these tools, you have to be like, oh, I'm going to, who here watched Hackers the movie, right? We all did. There's a rite of passage.
That's my first DVD.
You remember the scene where he's walking through the office and capturing passwords?
Mm-hmm.
No one has that kind of memory. Well, very few people do. But if I walk through an office and people have their card keys there, I could use this and scan their card keys just as fast, and then come back tomorrow and use that card key to walk in the door. Which is why when I was doing the bank startup, all of our card keys had codes on them too. So you had to use the code and the card key to get into the facility. So dual authentication is really important. But I was mentioning earlier that there's little radio transmitters you can plug into your Raspberry Pis, and you can monitor the sensors of the inflation, like your car tire. You know, if you ever wonder how it knows your car tires what pressure is, it's a little radio transmitter. That the spin when it's moving around, it gives it the power to keep generating, but it transmits the status of your tires. Well, that's not like a 5-foot range. It's like got enough range I can see them from my house as the cars are driving by. These are all things people have running. You don't know about it. So I do like to know what's
the neighbor's power. The power meter in my neighborhood, the power meter is transmitting, so you can see who's spinning up things and etc.
Well, I think he first showed me this thing like at CubeCon Detroit, right? And DMZ was showing me this, and then when he got done, he's like, "By the way, your car needs an oil change and your left tire's low." Thanks.
That's not easy, but it's fun. It's fun to talk about.
Yeah, RTL SDR is the project. There's a little $20 digital TV dongle you plug into a Pi or onto your laptop originally, and someone figured out that it was a full software-defined radio stack.
Software-defined radio, yep.
Amazing.
And that's what I'm using, because most home alarms these days are all battery-powered radio transmitters and like the 815 megahertz, wherever they're at. And that's what got me started on the home automation stuff. I was like, well, I have an alarm I'm not using. What would I do? Well, I plugged in my Raspberry Pi, plugged in the RTL radio on it, which I picked up at DEF CON decades ago, just sitting on a shelf, not doing anything with it. And now I could see all of, not just mine, but my neighborhoods were the transmitters of all their alarm sensors. And it makes you really wonder, well, if all of these houses use this, what would it take to jam that signal and prevent the alarm from noticing? So it does make you really wonder what really is the security of these security devices, let alone the stuff in our cars, the stuff in everything we buy these days has an embedded computer.
Mm-hmm. I got a notification here in Massachusetts that they're going to be replacing our power meters with smart meters. They're locking out that open transmission of the meter.
Yep, we did that here in Colorado as well, so they no longer have to drive out to our house.
Yep.
They just drive by and they pick up everything they need. Yep.
Yep.
So, Deshaun, I saw that you brought up your lab. Are you going to show us?
Oh, I was showing first of all, like the types of automation, the automatic plant watering that are devices. Those are Raspberry Pi, like Pico level devices that are help you decide if you want to do the plants. But I'll also this is the desk that I sit at. You think you had a big screen? Like there's that's a decent sized one, and then there's another one over there. So this is Java Grunt Jr. This is where he does his things. I got the GPUs. Got another GPU down here. That's the laptop. That's the one that's going to run Cloud Foundry with the new memory tiering. Back there, that's a 96 core Ampere Ultra dev box. And then up top, there are 20 Raspberry Pis up there. And then Ubiquiti. And this is the backlog.
So I saw on your desk there you had the teleprompter. How do you like that thing?
I get lots of compliments on it. It works. It works. I like it a lot.
Yep, I just got one myself. I'm still learning how to use it, how to best incorporate it, but man, it's a handy little piece of kit.
I say it works as it decides that I don't want to work right now.
It doesn't.
Is Deshaun's screen green for anyone else? It's just
it is.
Yeah, no, that is.
Okay.
All right, so let's go next. Keith, I don't even want to talk about your home lab yet. I want to talk about the racing setup you got behind you. That is cool.
Yeah, so I think it was just a COVID hobby, and then it just became more of that. So yeah, I have a background motorsport, restoring cars, and that. So this is a way cheaper version of motorsport because you don't have to buy fuel, you don't have to buy tires. So yeah, so drifting is more my thing, and GT3 racing. So yeah, this is a basic setup. There's people in Broadcom who have serious full motion rigs. They're stunning. Like, and again, it's not just. It's like most things. You can buy plug and play systems, but like half my time is tinkering. Like they're loaded third party handbrake shifters. So you're playing with drivers. You're playing with it when you turn it on. Don't like kids. Can we go play with it? Yeah, well, if we turn it on, we'll see if it works.
Don't touch my setup. Keep your dirty little hands off my setup.
My Homelab, I liked it. It was very similar. See if this resonates. My Homelab is kind of like the guy that likes to work on his car. Like during the week, the hood's up, I'm in doing this kind of stuff. But on the weekends, when I get it working, I like to take it fast around the corners.
All right, so tell us about your Homelab. We talked about the racing. Tell us about your Homelab.
Yeah, it's the Homelab is I can't
very colorful.
In here because it's colder is in the attic, so there's no insulation up there, so it's cold. So the Homelab runs in the attic. Because like as Mark well knows, here in Ireland we don't really have basements, we have attics, so we put stuff in the attic. But no, mine started off like you started the start. How did you start? It was like just tinkering around on a laptop, running workstation, spinning up VMs on a workstation, then going, okay, I want to do a bit more. So there, Nux again, eBay junkyard. You pick up Nux for so cheap. But I wanted something with more cores because at the time I was doing NSX. So okay, let's get some skull cannons. So you got more Nux, and then you get 1, you get 2, you get 3, you get 4, and yeah, I don't have a picture, but if you go to keithlee.ie, you'll see a picture. I built a rack without a Lego. So it's the famous Lego rack for the Nux. Yeah. And I was running that. So yeah, I was running, as we know it back then, PKS. I was running PCF on it. I was running NSX, vSphere. And like, it's one of those things like, I did networking many years ago and I left it for a while, and you come back going, oh, networking's easy. You just jump in, and it's only when you start building your Homelab going, oh, I don't remember the stuff I thought I used to remember. And it's you get a kick out of it going, okay, I have a problem, I want to fix it. And again, it was just self-learning again of just standing up stuff. So that went, then I got moved more into the cloud, sold off my gear, but now I'm back building again. So I'm using HP Z 840s, kind of the big brothers of Nick's ones. But it's a single box at the moment, but it's all about chip. So I have enough cores. There's a 0.5 terabyte of memory in there, but now with NVMe memory tiering in vSphere 8 Update 3, it's unlimited, you know? So I'm not memory bound anymore, which was the problem many years ago. I'm CPU bound until I buy more. But yeah, the usual stuff, UPS, Ubiquiti up there, QNAP NAS. Yeah, at the moment I'm running, that's what I'm working. I'm on PTO, but I'm just tinkering around writing stand-up scripts at the moment, so I can hopefully then share them with our colleagues inside Broadcom when I come back of, you know, how to get all our stuff running up and nice and easily. For that, but yeah, just you were talking of why did you pick these over the others? Was I could get, you know, or 610 620s for so cheap, but the noise the noise where this is like, I can the 3090 in there, I can take it out of that, throw it up into HP's Z 840, do some tinkering with that. So it's just and the power draw, like that HP is only drawing, let me go look at the app. There's a thing in it. I am pulling only 170 watts.
Wow.
Like, and that has, like, I have 72 threads, 0.5 terabyte of memory, all NVMe drives, no spinning disks. Yeah, and it's fast for Homelab, not fast like enterprise data centers, but I've lived a long life inside of.
Keith,
we're trying to share your Lego rack here. I can't do it because I got a new laptop and I'd have to close Chrome. But I just sent it to Nick. We're going to try to show that here in a little bit and see if Nick can share it and present it out. But that is pretty cool.
And that was it. Out of it as well. Was the time was I just actually blogged my building of that lab, and that was 5-6 years ago. And even it was a lovely moment actually in Explore Barcelona. We did a talk, myself and Darren, we did a talk on, you know, how you become from a VI admin to a platform engineer. And we're just giving our journey, our personal journeys along the way. And there was one colleague came up going, oh, I read your blogs those years ago, and now I've brought my career to other places just from, you know, learning what you did. Thank you so much for documenting what you did. Yeah, it was just lovely to hear that so many years later. Like, you know, that's all you want. It was, if it's value for one person, you've won. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and that kind of brings up, I think, Findsy mentioned him, but William Lamb, right? Kind of the god of home labs, right? I followed a lot of his stuff. Again, haven't done anything with it. Make fun of me if you want, but if you ever really want to get into the home lab stuff, William Lamb is the guy to follow. Go out and check out what he's doing. There it is.
So pretty.
Keith, question: have you actually taken that memory tiering for a test drive? Have you? Is it as good as it's made out to be? It sounds amazing.
It hasn't broken yet.
So your VMs are not reporting missing memory. They're getting into the tiered model, paging out to NVMe at the hypervisor.
Yeah. You can set the ratios. I'm only because even with everything on it. So I have a half a terabyte of DRAM. So
yeah. So
I don't have enough workloads to even really jump into it, but I have it there and it has gone into it a few times. But because you can set percentages, you can go up to 400%, but I'm not even doing that. Yeah. And the recommendation is roughly,
if you are looking for workloads to run on your data center, your home lab, I know a guy. I don't care how big your home lab is. I know a guy. I will make sure that your fans start going, that you got a little bit warmer house. I know a guy.
Well, and what's the colorful piece of kit right over your shoulder there?
No, he's talking to you,
Keith.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? That one?
Yeah.
That's the gaming rig. Yeah, that's the sim racing rig. Yeah. So
okay.
That one drives the sim racing. What case is that? It's another bad hobby. I keep changing cases and changing fans, writing automation. It's just
addiction takes many forms, guys. Addiction takes many forms.
This is really just a group therapy
finding
session.
Beautiful cases and that's all glass. It's just
I love the presentation of that, but I'm curious, do you find it distracting while you're racing to have that much blinking LEDs just over there and it's so bright?
No, so there's a massive 48-inch in front of me here. Yeah, so you see nothing. You're in the race because you have a 48-inch around you. Yeah.
That's all.
All right.
So I got to ask, can I try it to the group? Jump boxes. What's been your tried and tested?
My phone?
Your phone.
Tail scale.
Actually, what DMZ's not telling you is he's got a jump box into your system.
Hey, I mean, it's yours. It's right behind you.
Yeah.
Actually, I used to use a bunch of jump boxes, but I listened to Deckel and I've leaned in on tail scale. Yeah. And the idea that I can get directly to any boxes and I can do great egress and mappings of rules and what's allowed, and that's why I put my phone, because I can from my phone get to any of my critical devices, and if I need to, I can then actually get to a dedicated box that, like, I have a pfSense box as a gateway for a certain network. I can use that if I need to, the gateway. But with the customization of VPNs, I don't need one more box to maintain if I can help it.
I want to give a shout out to a machine type called Ameridroid or Odroid. They it was one of those little alternatives to a Pi. 8 cores, 4 low speed, 4 high speed cores. So it had that asymmetric core clocking you see in iPhones now, but I've had it for like 9 years or thereabouts. It is and has been my default always on machine. I use it as an SSH tunnel, which is a SOX proxy into the internet network when I need it. But I've run an SDR radio dongle on it forever. I've replaced the fan on the heatsink. That's about the only maintenance it had. The one difference I'd shout out about it, though, it had eMMC instead of because the micro SD cards were not very fast back then. And by having another way to bolt on some memory made all the difference. So that's my shout out to one of the other little boxes that's not a Pi but looks like one.
All right. Well, we're coming in, so we got about 10 more minutes left. Tim, what do you got to show us?
Oh, I got nothing. I'm here to learn. I got a DL380 that I geek out on because I used to be in the data center as a Linux administrator, changing memory modules out of those things 2 in the morning. And it's filled up with drives that you can pull out and put in. It really is interesting to me, and I just use it to do some just random things, video streaming. I've got Cloud Foundry on there. I had to rip it down and replace it with open source Cloud Foundry, which for last week's episode, But that didn't work out. So I'm going back to Tanzu. So that's another thing. But I'm curious, like you guys, I have this I bought this guy because he had like 192 gigabytes or 192 gigabytes of memory, and I need something that has a dense amount of memory that because I don't have a ton of room, but I don't want to have like a full rackable server because, like you said, it's big, it's loud, it takes a lot of power. So like if you want to go for like a workstation sort of form factor, would that
I would avoid the workstations, honestly. I that's why I went with the mini ITX form factor, because it's literally it's like this big, but I can do 256 gig of memory in each one, and I like to have multiple servers so I can do upgrades. If I'm going to have things, I want to be able to do vMotion, move things off of. I want to be able to do upgrades around the environment. I have 2 in the cluster now. I need a 3rd. So I would say if you're going to get something, don't get 2, get 3. You're going to find the need for it.
Yeah.
And if you're
memory tiering. Memory tiering and vSphere 8.
Yeah.
It's so cheap. Like you're going to add an NVMe drive for $100, and
yeah. And I have that. I have like a little riser that has 2 NVMe drives in that server I was talking about. And I'm not going to show it to you because I think there's like it's in front of a litter box or something like that. So that's not great. But anyway, yeah.
Well, I have a question for the group thinking of that, because I've done mine in a cluster. I have a separate NAS device that I have a 2 gig connection going into, so 2 separate network connections that are paired together. Do y'all have like drives in the machines? Do you have separate drives? How are you approaching the storage quandary?
vSAN.
Yeah, vSAN behind me.
So
I have NAS, like I have a QNAP, but again, part of his learning experience, I could just point to the QNAP, and I do. But when I was running other ones, is vSAN, because then you learn about OSA, ESA. You can learn about the types, learn the powers of each. Because when you're out there, anything's thrown at you, so you want to be, you want to have hands-on time with any of them. But if you're running a single box, you could run a nested environment and run nested vSAN if you want to just play around it, or just point directly at NVE drive. You don't even have to go enterprise tier, U2s, just commercial ones. Yes, they might burn out faster, but the price point is just so cheap on them.
And I think some of the older enterprise NVMEs seem to drop pretty cheap as well. So it's just like what you can find on the eBay junkyard wars too. Because I use an older variant of a Samsung NVMe drive. I think it's like something like the PM or SM1715 or something. But it's about like 4 terabytes. So there's one in each of those, and like it was essentially either slightly cheaper or similar to a consumer grade drive at the time. But yeah, you get some of those as well. Like was that like Samsung 980 or 990?
990s. Yep.
Yeah.
990 Pros.
Yeah. So like those work out fine too. So it's just NVMe's really just changed the game, because then you don't really have to do any of this driver situation, really, or like to some degree. But you're not futzing around with RAID controller drivers and things like that when you're talking about that type of stuff.
There's rules. There's HCLs for all these, but they can be bypassed. Like most things, you can be bypassed. We'll see what happens in vSphere 9, but right now we can bypass most things. Like I'm running Broadwell, that's quite old CPUs, but there's flags you can set to get around all these things, and the same with the NVMEs.
Keith, did you put NVMEs in your Z840?
Yep, it's all no spinning disks, not even SSDs. It's all NVMe. Yeah.
You were able, and did you have to buy an aftermarket, or is that motherboard rated for NVMe?
Yeah, so I bought. Who makes that card? It's a good card, but you can put 4 NVMEs into a by 16 slot.
Okay.
Then you can use, I can't say this word, bifurcation. Is that the word? Where you can carve up your lanes.
Yeah.
So I've carved the 16 lane into 4, so I have 4 lanes. Each NVMe has its own 4 lanes. And you can just manage it that way. Or you can go off and buy single. You can get single NVMe risers for like $10 or whatever, but this card was about maybe 50, and it has fans and cooling on it, because you are going to push these NVMEs. But yeah, when you're on ESX top, you see the queuing on them.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I try and do a bit of moving across, doing a bit of balancing on when you looking at the cues on
I'm
it.
running a small footprint foundation, some Rabbit, some Postgres, some Gemfire, and vCenter in one of those Supermicros that just has 6 physical cores and 128 gig. I see some horrible ready states.
Yeah.
It's a pulse. I'm not going to say it's a racehorse.
Yeah, but like if you keep around the DAVGs around, I don't know, the 10, you're okay.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Nikki, can you? Sorry, while we're talking about like low specs, can you flip over to my? There we go.
Look at this. Look at this.
Can you make it live? Can you make it the solo show?
Can you turn it sideways, Nick?
Yeah. The other one, like the Coon Labs.
Hold on, I'm getting there.
Technology.
I walked over to my hot aisle. I was getting cold.
Here we go.
All right.
Hey, I see cable management. Some.
Yes. This was cleaner, but then I added more hosts, and they got a little.
You're
little
brave
dicey.
first.
Safe place.
To show us the cables.
Yep.
Yeah.
Safe place.
Yeah. So like, we're talking here. So this is. I have a PCI adapter for like a U.2 card, right? And that's where you can get the NVMe drives in there as well. And then we got the like ancient like 10 gig SFP card. This is an old video card just for output. But then that's like a Tesla T4. But like as kind of Keith was saying, like you can do vSAN on some of these older either commercial drives or like consumer drives pretty well. And you can get away with lower, but like 10 gigs pretty nice, and you can get 10 gig pretty cheap now as well. So like these cards, I bought them for like $13 just recently, or like I wiped out the supplier. I'll have to look up the spec of it, and then yeah, and then you can get like a Ubiquiti like aggregation that's like 8-port for like I don't know, it's like $300, so it's pretty cheap to do 10 gig that way. But then here some of these machines, this is where I have like 3090s in them. Another 3090 down here. We go over. Ooh.
Now watch, he's going to touch the wrong network cable, and we're going to lose him.
Yeah.
We're going to lose him completely.
Here's a P40 in here as well. So, and then here's the hack I've done to a lot of these boxes where you'll get the small form factor, like the SFX, I think is what it's called, backplate to convert to the full ATX plate, and that's enough to kind of shove that little power supply in there versus the weird kind of default view of the HBZ 440. And it looks like the Z6 and probably Z8s are just like that, where they have this weird kind of like stair step style PSU, which is like not a typical thing to easily replace.
That's
and then here's the micro lab. It's off right now, but that's the thing I carried around my backpack at Barcelona 23.
So Wayne requested that quick scrape your feet on the carpet and then start pointing to stuff.
Let's just concrete. No carpet.
Oh, concrete.
Quick shout out to I found like R2D2 Christmas lights. I don't know. I thought it was
Awesome.
pretty cool.
Absolutely.
I love it.
See, I've always gotten away, with the fact that I, ran the private cloud for some companies and, Xbox and other companies. I always just used my company resources. I didn't need a home lab because I just used their stuff. It's amazing what you can do when you're in control of the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
You might fix the video. There you go.
Oops.
There you go.
Oh, me and Nick we're walking over each other.
We're competing.
So let's take somebody that maybe they don't have all the technical skills. They want to get into a home lab. What do you guys think of like some of the appliances out there, like Ansel and stuff like that? Anybody even aware of Ansel? Ant-Man? No? All right. Well, I mean, it's these are pre-built servers for doing things like VMs. They're expensive, but they kind of give you that first start with people that maybe don't have the technical abilities to jump in, kind of build their own. Might be something to look at for those that are wanting to start a home lab. Or, like we said, William Lamb, go look at Keith Lee's blog. Go look at Nick's blog about how he set up his stuff. As Adib said, if you want to do something, just get started.
Yeah,
there's a huge community. Yeah, the community there's no end of blogs. There is no end of them. And even different, like the V community, the V expert community, there's so much help out there. And you can start for so cheap. Like, yes, you can start on Pi, Nook, but if you want something going, I can buy something and build upon. Like, as you say, like my gear, it's 10-year-old enterprise, not enterprise, it's a workstation, 10-year-old gear. You can buy for 1,000. If you wanted to go latest gen or even one gen back, you have to add a zero onto that straight away.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's works. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's just going. There's so much out there. You can see this when you look at the various sites. You can know when one data center is just being cleaned out because, like, look at all these OR 6 ones, 6 10s, 20s, 30s. Look at the stock intake there of all of a sudden there's just so much. Like, so yeah, you can get started for cheap. And if you're not comfortable building and stuff, there's a lot of these sites offer a build service. You pick out, you do your shopping list of what components you want. They build it for you, ship it, even a power cord. It's you plug it in, right? You're ready to go. Yeah. So
Nice.
What I'm interested in is like what do people do with it, right? So like, what is the I mean, besides our own sort of like home lab stuff for our jobs and whatnot, like what is your most useful facility that you have from your home lab?
Well, that depends on the person. I myself like doing working on my car. I have an old Volkswagen, and I like to work on woodworking, and that's where I'm doing the embedded stuff. I like to integrate. How can I take my passion of computers and tie it into things? So home automation. The things that are practical. I'm a practical person. I like to find actually useful things like monitoring the neighbor's Wi-Fi. I don't know, but no, it's no, but realistically, no. It's like you said with Deep said. Just find that thing that interests you.
Yeah.
Find a local. I'd even throw in there. Find a local group. I know locally there's a bunch of tech groups and one or two little security things happening regionally. I'll be willing to bet if you make a friend in one of those local tech groups, someone has, I've got this old machine I'm not using anymore. It's already built for Linux. Let me teach you how to use it. You find someone to help you just like offload their closet. I mean, Deshaun, I'm sure you got something in your backlog there you don't need anymore.
That's how I make myself feel comfortable. I give away the old stuff so that I man, look at me. I was so nice giving away that old stuff. I should go to Micro Center. I deserve it.
I should have ended the show at a Micro Center. That would
Deshaun, I think you deserve it too. So
right, and that goes for everybody. If you ever want to be convinced to make a trip to Micro Center or to eBay or whatever, come. I will tell you that you deserve it. Absolutely.
I will say I took my 10-year-old there a couple weeks ago because you got him a 3D printer for his birthday. And there's a whole lot of 3D printer real estate in Micro Centers now. It's a big
Best
thing.
dad ever.
Yeah.
He wants it up in his room. I'm like, you won't sleep printing all night.
I just want to see where his creativity takes him and what you end up getting printed out there.
I'm a bit scared.
I mean, from my side, I don't have the home lab. I do have a Synology. I run my own, my email server there because I wanted to get all my stuff off of Hotmail and Gmail and stuff. So I run that. And then much like David said, I'm a big woodworker. So I beef that up so that I can run, the CAD stuff to build out what I'm going to do for my woodworking projects. So I've got that. I've got a big, powerful machine. I just haven't turned it into a lab yet.
So Nikki, we need to pair up and make a couple of CNCs that we can actually tie into home labs.
Amen, man. And don't say the word CNC. Every time it does, my wife goes into this twitch.
She gets a little.
I don't need
There's a running joke with us, DMZ about, she goes and finds something she wants, and I'm like, I can build that for way less, but I'm gonna need like, $4,000 worth of tools to do it. So
I need the plasma cutter now, the adapter for the plasma cutter for a router bit, multi-material planning, yeah.
Yep.
Who else is getting a welder? I'll get a welder. Anyway.
We got that for you.
Well, guys, this has been just a crap ton of fun, to be honest with you. This is probably the most that we've had on one show at one time. Hell, I think we've got to start doing some of these little parties during the holidays, different holidays, Nick, because this was a lot of fun to get everybody's approach and get some laughs out.
Yeah, thank you all for joining. I know it's quite late in the year, and like Keith came from PTO already, so thanks for staying up and joining us. And this will officially be the last show for the year, but we're going to come back, I think the second week of January.
Yep.
Is it where's the calendar app? Let's look. Let me look in the calendar here. I want to say
we're
the
looking on
9th.
the 9th. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll be back for the 9th, and we'll figure it out then. But yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. On another note, if you do subscribe to the podcast, I'm sorry. Yesterday, I got everything up to date, so your apps were probably blowing you up about all the new episodes coming through. So it's current, and then I'll get the podcast version published later today, so we're all current for the year too. So. Should be good.
I'm going to add one thing. We want to see, we're talked all about Homelabs. We want to see what people have got out there. Put stuff in the comments. Show us your Homelabs. Send us a link to what you got. Love to see what other people are building out there. You never know when you might spark an idea and, a Deshaun or a Keith or somebody says, oh, I must have that in mind. So, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's always that FOMO when it comes to Homelabs, I believe. So,
Oh, yeah.
We can play the next one live at Micro Center with all of us. See how much damage we can do.
Just running around like 5-year-olds. Ah!
I don't know
Must have all the things.
I don't know if you're good or a bad influence, Nick. Did you have me shopping for HP boxes halfway through the session?
Yeah. Well, let's see here. Let's get just a referral link here.
No, get this one. It's a higher level of the big brother. The next one. I'm like, okay, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
See, Nick's already working on how to monetize this channel and what we're doing right now.
I think we're a long way away from that, though, Nick. Yeah.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, I hope everybody has a happy holidays. Hope y'all have a good
likewise.
New Year. We will see y'all again on the 9th of January of 2025. And I guess with that, everybody here knows how we sign off. So count us down, Nick.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.